I just had another thought. You know, does it bother you if you're going to a concert and it's obvious the band is playing to backing tracks? Does that bother you? Are you bothered by it? I'm very bothered by it personally, but I think it's because my relationship to music and how I learned coming up, there were no shortcuts to sounding good at all. You had to practice a lot, and you had to try to learn the parts the best you could. I don't remember, honestly, the first time I remember thinking something was going on is when we saw Warrant in 1989 on the Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich tour. I could tell something was going on with the background vocals. I'm watching everyone, and I'm like, how does it sound like that? And I noticed on a couple of tracks, or at least my memory, I could be wrong here, happy to be stand corrected, but it felt like on a couple of those songs, the drummer would put headphones on, which I think those days, if you were pulling off these shenanigans, it would be like a DAT machine with a click on one side and just everything mono on the other. That's the first time I remember thinking, oh, something's going on. And you know, honestly, I went through a phase where I would go hear some of these rock bands in the 90s and think, oh wow, that's kind of cool actually. And it was, at the time, it was like background vocals, you know, everyone's doing big gang vocals, and it was like, oh, that's cool, because you can't have a gang of people on stage. But then, you know, very quickly it became like percussion elements, and it was like I could almost excuse that too. And I appreciated the consistent meter of having to play to a click. And I feel like there's a whole generation of drummers that benefited from having to get good to play to a click. I never could do it. I had to teach myself in like the late 90s how to do that. I had never done it, and boy did it show in my playing. So I do feel like it made drummers better, but then it became this accepted thing where everyone's playing to backing tracks. And you know, I deal with this a lot in my profession. I don't talk about it because there's nothing great for my career to gain. It's gotten a bit ridiculous. I did one show. When I say I did a show, I record a lot of live shows. I love live music. My greatest passion in life is recording live concerts. If I could just exclusively do that, I would. And I don't care if they're in stadiums, which occasionally they are, or in clubs, everything in between. I love it. I love a live band's interpretation of a song that might have been recorded really quickly after its conception. Something happens to a great song when a good band plays it 100 times. And I love that. I love being able to capture that, and a great sounding venue and an audience, preferably screaming the chorus back very loudly. I love that. But this use of backing tracks, it's kind of gotten out of control, y'all, where, you know, a lot of times, gonna fix this camera, you know, a lot of times I feel like now there's all kinds of elements, you know, in some cases not even sure the artist is singing, which, you know, it's like, hey, okay, fair enough. I do occasionally have to remind myself, hey, this is show business, right? These people are entertainers. The show must go on, right? You know, and sometimes there's so much money on the line now. I get it. You know, no one cancels. The bands I grew up loving replace members just like puzzle pieces, right? It's like, you know, so-and-so tonight, the drummer will be played by the drum tech because the drummer got sick, you know. Growing up, a concert would have been canceled. You never would have dreamed to go see, let's say for example, Motley Crue. Without Tommy Lee, are you kidding me? They're still gonna play? Like, no. Cancel, reschedule. That never would have flew, you know. Now, you know, it still happens. In the backing track thing, to circle back to that, it's really, really, really gotten out of control. I think, especially for rock and roll. Pop music, okay, whatever, do what you want to do. It's fine. But like, I don't want to go see my favorite hard rock band and be hearing guitars that aren't being played on the stage. Background vocals, like, I don't know. I mean, I would rather actually not hear them now. I want to believe everything I'm hearing is being executed on the stage, because there's part of me, as professional as I like to think I am, when I go to a concert, I kind of want to be a 15-year-old kid again that doesn't know anything. I want to look at the elements on stage, and I want to believe everything I'm hearing is happening on stage. But you know, at the end of the day, there's no hard rules. Everyone should be able to do whatever they want to, and if your vision of trying to recreate the record requires tracks, you know, that's fine. Also, though, as a fan, I do think we vote with our wallets at the end of the day, and if it comes across as disingenuous, I don't think you're going to connect to it, or at least I know I don't. And if I don't connect to it, I'm probably not as likely to buy a ticket next time you come through town. And don't get me started on concert ticket prices. That's completely out of control. I understand why. I understand as more probably than most people of what things cost. I want my friends to be well compensated. Touring's an expensive endeavor. I get it. But as the father of 2 kids, you know, we have a family of 4. Going to a concert is not a middle class endeavor anymore. It's like, it feels like it's something for the elite, which is kind of lame, especially if you grew up being a rocker, like I was. You know, it was like $15, $20, and you know, let's say, well, I don't know, what was the median income in the mid 80s? Was it $40,000 a year? I don't know. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it is. And I know I never spent more than $20 a ticket in high school. So let's say the median income was $45,000 and concert tickets were $20, right? And let's say now the median income is 80, 100. I really don't know. But I see these tickets. My daughter has 5 or 6 concerts she would love to go to coming up. And tickets are anywhere between like $100 to $350. Like, that is so much money still to me. And what you're getting for what you're paying, I think, is completely out of scale. But I don't see it changing. I don't think it's going to change. But I have noticed too that this year is really soft. People aren't really talking about it. But if you go to Ticketmaster, I just went today and bought some tickets for a massive pop star I want to take my daughter to. And we've been talking about it for a year, and the tour is not doing well. And it was obvious when it went on sale 6-8 months ago. Today, I bought tickets, albeit nosebleeds, for $35 a ticket. It's like, yeah, we can afford to do that. I can take my daughter, and, you know, if it's good, great. If it's bad, we had lost a lot of money. You know, we'll $70 on tickets. We'll probably spend another $25 on parking, and then, you know, we'll buy food. So, you know, it'll still end up being somewhat expensive, but for the education and the fun, for her to experience another act, you know, that seems doable. But anyway, how do you guys feel about this? Am I out of touch? Do I just not make enough money, and that's why all this feels really expensive? I don't know. I feel like I do well. but it just feels like, I certainly am not taking my entire family to a concert. I feel like we've only done that a few times ever. So anyway, but kind of rambling things about background tracks and ticket pricing. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. It's like I don't really have a hard opinion. I understand backing tracks. It's fine. It's the music purist in me, I guess, that maybe has a problem with it, right? The 15-year-old kid thinks it's lame. The professional that works in all this, I mean, I get it. Does it make my job easier? Sure. Do I benefit from mixing things with backing tracks? Yeah. People think it sounds better quickly, so yeah, it's a balance. But anyway, I'm done. I don't even know if that's interesting. If it's not interesting, comment that's not interesting, and we won't talk about something like that again. But the concert ticket thing, I think it's interesting. So anyway, see ya.